Live. Hey, Sean. Hello. How are you?
Marlies, beautiful to see you. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, it feels like a long time, and it only really has been a minute. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mystic Musings. Yeah, we've missed you guys. We have been away for a little while, but we're back. And really, really loving, what's kind of going on in the world right now, and the energy that we're feeling, and the shifts that we're feeling, and really, what a perfect time to just sort of take stock and bring 2024 to an end and really start thinking about what 2025 will bring. And, we have some really cool themes to share with you. And so, yes, I'm Marilise de Villiers Basson and Sean Caudry, and we are the Modern Day Mystics, inviting all our fellow spiritual beings to join us in this beautiful journey. And we are on such a journey of personal growth and spiritual growth and discovery and becoming really the miraculous beings that we were born to be. And one of the things that have been really present in both of us recently has been all the time we invest in our own learning and development, and how much we really get so committed, but also a little bit fatigued around all the learning that we're doing, and dare I say, get addicted to the learning. And so, yeah, we wanted to explore that theme with you today. If you have any thoughts, any questions, let us know. But I'm just going to sort of let Sean position it for us and introduce it to us.
Thanks, Marlies. So great to be with all of you. And I'm coming off the back of a 10-day Dr. Joe retreat in Cancun. Dr. Joe Dispenza, one of the most, I have to say, phenomenal human beings, I believe, on the planet, making history in all sorts of ways.
Absolutely.
And if you have not had the opportunity to be in his presence or listen to his work, I strongly encourage you, as he is just really literally making history with what he's bringing forward. And he's a great example of someone who has completely tested the boundaries and reshaping humanity by coming forward as the great teacher, the great sharer of new wisdom. Not new wisdom, it's wisdom, in fact, that we know. It's the truth of who we are that we do know. And he has just taken the bulls by the horn and is sharing just how powerful we are as creators, as manifestors, as these individuals who are sentient beings, eternal beings, capable of achieving the miraculous. And the 10-day retreat was absolutely phenomenal. I'm still in a process of integrating. I got back, I don't know, sometime last week. I've come to a little mountain time to recoup, to integrate and download all the various phenomenal meditations. We were in 8 to 9 hours of meditation a day, together with teaching. So our days would start at 6, we would end sometimes at 8, sometimes we'd start at 4. And I'm just in such gratitude and awe for what I've learned through this process and through this phenomenal human being. Suffice to say, I'm going to be sharing, and there's such phenomenal insights, meditations, themes, etc. that I personally received during the course of the retreat. It's not my first one. This was his first 10-day retreat. To be in that sort of environment is completely transformative for 10 days. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of that in the new year, not in today's conversation, but we are going to pick up on this theme that Marilise is referring to, because I think it's so pertinent as we come into the end of the year, as we start to review and start to say what looks different next year as we come into ourselves, into more of ourselves and more of the expression of ourselves.
Yeah.
So, so let me start with this. I'm going to start with sharing a testimonial that was shared with us on stage, and I'm going to start with this testimonial and then jump into what were my takeouts and what does it mean in the context of what Marilise is alluding to. I'm going to call it not the addiction, it's the chasing. It's the addiction to not being good enough. And this is the real thing that I believe that we have to start dropping, is our own personal addiction that we are not good enough, that we are not capable of enough, and that someone else can do it better, and that we do not have everything in ourselves to bring forward what we need to bring forward. And particularly for modern day mystics, I'm going to be calling us all forward. I'm going to be calling us on our own addictive behaviors and our own need now to really stand up to step out and to be the teachers that the world needs coming into 2025 as we move into this new era. So the testimonial is a woman. I don't know. I can't remember all the exact details. So I'm going to relay it as best I can, but I'm still largely blown away, because even listening to the testimonial, she was standing in stage. She was part of the 10 days. So she must be in her 60s, and she was diagnosed with colon cancer. She had obviously severe incontinence, diarrhea, etc. for some time, got a diagnosis of colon cancer. And that then, she knew of Dr. Joe's work, and that then set off a series of events that led her down the rabbit hole of knowing about Joe's work. She wanted to heal herself and believed she could heal herself. So she was making this decision, and in the decision-making process, she had a lot of friends and families like, are you sure? Can you do this? So in other words, let's be clear, it's other people's doubt. She knew inside of herself that she could heal herself. Other people, she started to listen to other people, started to get their perspectives, their own fears being projected onto her. Needless to say, she went against her intuitive body and ended up having the operation. So she had a large portion of her rectum removed, which then meant that she would be on a colonoscopy bag, I think they call it, for the rest of her life. But she had such severe, because she had so much of her rectum removed, she had such severe incontinence that she quite literally had the most terrible, terrible life experience. In other words, she could not even go outside to look after her dogs, to take her dogs for a walk, to see people, because she was just forwards and backwards to the restroom the whole time. She could not sleep because every 15 minutes, whatever she ingested was coming straight out, and the colonoscopy bag was simply not sufficient to be able to manage the volume and etc. And she got to a point in her life where she eventually said to her husband, "This is not a life at all. This has to end." At that point in time, he then said to her, like, "What do you mean by this has had to end?" She went away, thought about it, and she came back and she said, "I'm going to grow my rectum back." This has never been done in the history of mankind. There are stories in Joe's work of people growing back their thyroid. There are just phenomenal healings. If you go to his official Dr. Joe site and at YouTube, you can see testimonials. So I know of the stories around people growing back thyroids and that kind of stuff. And if you watch Source documentary, you'll also see there is a woman in the documentary, and it's all scientifically researched. In fact, I'm wearing a Garmin. I'm actually part of a year-long research study based on the 10-day Cancun retreat. So he does scientific research the whole way through. And so she committed to growing back her colon using his work, studying the work of transformation. And so she started. What was interesting about her process was, like she said, she would go into meditation. She would start it. She could not even last 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And I mean, minimum meditation of his is 20 minutes. She had to stop after 5 minutes, go to the bathroom, come back, pick up the meditation where she left off, stop, go to the bathroom, come back. And so a meditation, let's say a 45 meditation, would take her sometimes 3 hours to do. But she was so committed. And I want to say, one of the insights that I had was, like, literally, even though she had to sit in her own shit as such, and still envision a future version of herself that was whole and complete and fully vital and healthy. And literally, like, she was, even while she was in the bathroom and that kind of stuff, she would just keep envisioning that she was full, vital, and had a fully grown back rectum. And it is impossible to, like, have an operation to, like, put a rectum in or anything like that. Once your rectum is cut out, that's it. So she just is committed every single day. She didn't care how long it took. She didn't care what she ever. So you can imagine every single day she's faced in moment by moment in these 10, 15-minute blocks with in and out of the toilet of, like, self. She said she didn't allow herself to, like, get into doubt. She just had to up her belief system that this was possible. She just had to believe that she had everything inside of herself, based on the research, based on everything she had learned from Dr. Joe's, the testimonials, that it was possible for her to grow back her rectum. And she said, like, the woman who grew back her thyroid, she said that was what a key motivator, to know that you could actually grow back inside of yourself. You have all that intelligence to grow back something inside of yourself. Needless to say, just to cut out a little bit of the story so we can get into the application of the topic. She goes back on her first visit to the doctor for a checkup. The first thing he unfortunately says, he says, we made a mistake in the diagnosis. When we did the biopsy on the rectum that we cut out, you don't have cancer. She was horrified. She didn't even need the operation to start with.
Sure.
Horrified. So she knew, and she said the first challenge that she had was like, and she was already in the process of healing, but she knew if she didn't forgive the medical profession, she wouldn't heal. So she went through a process of forgiving them, irrespective of what transpired. So that in itself was so powerful, and she had to get over her past. Then he says there is some change in the rectum when he does the colonoscopy. Needless to say, she returns sort of a couple of months later, having continued to the work. She has grown back her rectum. I think it was 10 centimeters or 7 to 10 centimeters. She said that during the process, as she knew that there were changes, because she could stay in the meditation longer before she would need to go to the bathroom. She could sleep for longer periods of time. So she knew that something was happening. Regardless of that, she ends up growing back her full rectum. Not only that, the doctor says to her, he's like, what have you done? Like, can you, what, like, he's completely perplexed. Like, what have you been, like, what have you been doing? Like, what is, like, because not only has she grown back a new rectum, he said it is the rectum of what he would find in a youth, of a young child. It is so new. While I was listening to the story and she's standing on stage, and I mean, I still have goosebumps, I'm literally receiving this upgrade, because she goes into a lot of the detail of what life was like and all sorts of stuff. And I'm literally like, there is no excuse for any of us to not think that the intelligence that we have is not freaking capable of accomplishing anything. But to put it back, so there was no external diet. There was no obviously she was looking after her diet because of the general condition, but there was no external operation that healed her. There was actually the external world was the thing that sort of, didn't make it good. And then from there on in, it just became the soul internal journey of this woman healing herself quite profoundly. I just found this absolutely profound, and it really made me kind of sit back, think to myself, apart from, like, there's no excuse. It doesn't matter what the level of commitment. There is nothing I need to chase outside of myself. There is nothing that I am not capable of doing, and there is nothing that an external person can give me that I don't already have. But I say this with a lot of love, because the reality is there are some skills that perhaps I need. But if I'm going after something because I am feeling there is lack from within, and therefore from a place of lack, that I'm not capable, I don't have the skill set, I don't back myself, I'm not confident, therein lies the problem. And therein lies the conversation. And I'm going to hand over to Marlies, because therein lies the addiction to the story and the self-story of I'm not good enough. I compare myself to other people, and what I have got is not enough and not good enough for myself. And when I chase after things and continuously get on the new learning and development, chase the next, I call it the bright and shinies, I'm going to be fucking exhausted. And that's where I think a number of modern day mystics find themselves, because we undervalue and we do not fully trust, believe, and have conviction in the intelligence that we have. And I'll say this, I know that many people listening to us and who follow us on our channels and follow us on social media are modern day mystics. You have been in learning and development your whole life. You have been spiritual for most of your life. You are extraordinary. The things that you have accomplished are extraordinary. It has to stop. Next year, you have to put a stop to the courses, to the next thing. And this is very specific for a very specific reason. So I'm going to, I've had a bit of a riff and a rumble on that, Marlies. Maybe you better take it from here.
I love that. And I love how when I suggested to Sean today that we talk about this idea of being constantly in up-leveling ourselves in learning and development mode, and never really stepping out and forwards in terms of being the teacher ourselves. She was like, oh my gosh, I've just been going through this with a client, and fundamentally this is kind of coming from that place of internally, inherently we just do not feel that we are enough. And so I think it's this kind of like battle we're fighting, and I'm literally, half an hour ago I came off a call with my coach where I was just saying I'm so tired. I have this discontent because I feel like nothing is working and I'm trying everything, and it's like, and I keep looking at the you know all the things that I've signed up for and doing. And so I mean, I can put my hand up and say me too, because I literally had this conversation a couple of weeks ago with a friend, and so she said, Marilise, we get addicted to the learning. And I was like, I had such a profound moment just of, oh my gosh, when you get to that point where you're not even actually enjoying it anymore, you're just kind of showing up, you're doing it, and you're going through the motions, then there's something wrong. And so what I think we're describing here is the sort of dynamic between, you are meant for more. We are leaning into, we are extraordinary already, and we want to be extraordinary. And so there is the permission to do that, and at the same time believing that you are more than enough. And so it's that sort of, we're meant for more, and we are already more than enough. And I think that's what we want to presence with you, and really an opportunity for us all to lean into as we go into 2025, because we really, really have so much to offer. And there's always the opportunity to believe more in our own potential. And so this is an inner game. This happens inside. This profound story Sean has just shared about this lady who grew back a rectum. I mean, come on, how much do you have to actually believe in your ability to do that, to be able to do that? So yeah, no. So I think it's for me, I'm just really in that place now. So I think a strong theme that's coming through, and sort of a key learning, which is very fresh, and I'm still integrating this because it's literally just a conversation I had half an hour ago. This is the beauty of having these chats, Sean, because I think it's so beautiful to illuminate also some of the learnings that we have on the way, and to sort of integrate some of those learnings on the way, and noticing what we're noticing. But it's this sense that, so for me, and this is the first sort of theme or learning that I want to share from my perspective, is that there is this part of you that's discontent, that wants to illuminate something. And so I'm leaning into a new way, into a way that's easy, that's peaceful, that's joyous, that's fun, so that's the kind of the new part of me. But then there's this other part of me that's still sort of like trying to kind of hold on. And so my coach said to me, think about it as a little boy, think about it as one of your sons. They're desperately trying to hold on because they want to go on this journey, they want to be on this ride, but you're slowly letting go. And it's like, you actually have to sort of coexist with it, and that's the whole point of allowing that feeling, but not allowing it to control how you show up, what you believe is possible. But it's that coexistence. So it's kind of that balance we're talking about of, you are more than enough, and you are meant for more. And it's kind of coexisting with that two parts, and integrating that two parts of you, but being really clear about spirit being in the lead. And I think that's the key first theme and thing that I want to land with us today, is spirit being in the lead.
So beautiful, Marilise. Thanks for sharing all of that. And I just want to build on what you're saying, because I think some of the awarenesses that I've certainly had through the year, and I've been on multiple courses, again, most my story, moving country and that kind of stuff, and moving my business online. And I've got numerous fascinating stories to share in the new year. But I certainly realized and got to a point at the end of the year where it's literally, if I have to think about like one more course, I literally I just can't. And even now, as I'm going through my integration process, what's interesting is like, I'm not even in a place yet where I can like consume some of the learnings from Joe, or go back to my notes in terms of the learnings, because I'm like full. So I don't know if any of you feeling like this, Marilise is feeling like this, we're just like full, like like I've eaten too much. Like I've actually like that's just too much. But let's look at the inner, what's actually happening on the inner world. And you've heard me many times this year speak about the glasses and the lenses that we wear, etc. And so when we're not feeling full in ourselves, we're not feeling full in the enjoyment that you actually like yourself, that you actually enjoy yourself, that you actually love and adore the skill sets of what you've been given as your own personal natural abilities. This is where the lack starts coming in. And what you're actually signaling to the universe is you're saying, like, you're not enough. What you've given me is not enough. I'm not satisfied. I'm dissatisfied with what you've given me, what someone else has. And so therefore I'm rejecting what I have for myself, and I want what someone else has actually. There is no way that you can ever be abundant, be fruitful, be full, be an overflow of joy, be an overflow of liking yourself. I don't want to talk about loving yourself. Do you like yourself? Like what I mean by that, do you like the feel of yourself in your body? And this is actually where I got to before I went to Joe's workshop. I got to a place where I just really like myself. Like, and it's actually a feeling that's deeper than love. Like I really like being here. I really like being who I am. I really like the skill set that I've got. I just really like myself. And I want to ask any of you, can you really honestly, with like this beautiful feeling of your heart, like, I really like myself. And if you can't do that, then therein lies the issue, because everything about you, you are self-rejecting. And so when you're subtly carrying that in the unconscious and in your energy field, you're going to grapple to get clients. It's going to be an uphill. It's going to be the next thing. It's going to feel like you're climbing a mountain. It's going to feel like, and then you're going to think to yourself, like, what am I missing? I'm missing something. This isn't working. So I've got to go and get something. Now, let me see who's doing it. And they seem to be doing, and they've got the system that's going to change the system, that's going to do the system, that's going to be the blueprint, that's going to change my life and whatever. And it's all outside of ourselves. Let's go back to growing back. Can you grow back your own rectum? What I mean by that, it's so significant because the rectum is such a core piece of, if you think about all that elimination, and I know this because I had a lymphocytic colitis, which is all around sort of significant and severe diarrhea as well. And it's like I had to work really deeply into this concept of my own self-elimination, my own rejection of self, my own eliminating of myself. And I know this for a fact, is that many modern day mystics eliminate, self-reject, undermine, and it's this constant process. I'm not like, no, this can't be good. What I've got, my skill set, no, that's not good enough to be in the world. Let me chase the next thing. And so you constantly, and if you think about the concept if you think about the concept of elimination, like, you can never be fully nourished, right? Because everything that you ingest is just going straight out. So truly, even if you go on another course and another this, it's not going to be enough. You're just going to eliminate it out because you've just got this whole lack thing going in. And so you're lacking the nutrients, you're lacking, all of the nourishment, you're lacking the food, the source, but the source is actually you and you. And so moving into a place of just taking a step back, and I'm going to build on these concepts because I had the most profound meditations around these sort of elements. But it's got to start with you liking you, and really starting to liking your skills, liking what you've accomplished, liking the journey that you've been on, liking all the healing that you have done, and just starting to acknowledge and fill up and start to nourish yourself from the internal space, instead of looking for the external validation and someone else to, like, say, hey, you're good enough, you this, that, whatever. Nourish yourself and get into that place, because from that place, when your body and your system is nourished, and when your field is nourished, you're going to start to yield a different life experience. And so, that is really just one of the core concepts. And the woman who healed her rectum, like, she just started nourishing herself. She just got devoted to herself. She got devoted to the idea that she had such an intelligence, and she's such a profound and powerful being, that she devoted herself to getting to know how powerful and how magnificent and how intelligent she was. Now imagine if we all just sat up like noble beings and spent 2025 being devoted to discovering how intelligent and the nobility of we are, and the intelligence that we have, and getting to know the beings that we are, and stepped into the world as these noble and courageous beings. How might 2025 look different for you?
So beautiful, and talk about forgiveness. Absolutely. I think one of the things about liking yourself is really also the forgiveness that comes with that, and looking at younger versions of yourself and not really having any blame and shame and judgment attached anymore. It's almost like, can you love that version of yourself that was grappling with an eating disorder? Can you like that version of yourself, that got to her knees in the boardroom after her boss, demoted her in front of a whole team? It's those pivotal moments in your life where you were literally like, I think a lot of us look back at perceived failures, because there are no failures. Let's just get that one out. But it's that, can you go back to that version of yourself and actually really like that version of yourself, and really have no shame, no blame, no judgment attached to that? So I think that's part of the
Mm,
healing journey. And so you're really illuminating that for me in terms of my own
mm,
own story, and being able to sort of look at events and things that happened in my life, things that I've done, which I'm not necessarily proud of, but being able to forgive myself, let
mm,
alone the doctor that misdiagnosed me, but actually
mm,
um, forgiving myself, and
mm.
that liking myself and liking yourself is really about, also ultimately about forgiving self.
Beautiful. And I just want to add on that because uh, this is such an important concept, Marilise. It's not just the forgiveness, like she had to, and what I've noticed for myself and through especially the extensive work that I did coming into the end of the year, is like your past cannot define you. So the
Mm.
past event of having the misdiagnosis and her rectum cut out could not define who she could not live in the prison or with that lens on, because if she lived with the lens of like resentment, of hate, of dislike, of any of those low frequencies, she would have walked around wearing this pair of lenses, the pair of glasses, which I've spoken around before. How is she going to walk around? How is she going to? So so it's such an important part. Forgiveness is the one aspect. It's done. Then it's, you got to take those glasses off. The past cannot define you, and this is one of the key elements that we and that Joe and many of us in this profession teach over and over again. It's done. It's complete. It's dissolved. They just take it off, hang the coat up, and then or re put it in the thrift store or whatever, repurpose it. But it's done, and so many of us carry the story of the trauma, of what we did wrong, of the mistake that we did, of the whatever and we carry that with, and we still carry it with, and we do the forgiveness work. And I think this is one of the other main reasons why we continue to put ourselves in learning, development, healing, whatever, because I am still choosing to carry the trauma of like, I haven't let it go, and so I need to heal myself more, and I haven't, whatever it is, just take it off. It's done. The universe doesn't operate like this. The universe is an unconditional loving being, and every experience that you have brought forward for yourself in your life was absolutely necessary. So it is really just a choice of you to say, like, in the now, if I had to like really look at my circumstances right now, in the now, everything is actually good, and I'm quite capable.
Yeah. And it's that being kind of in the now, and that connection with source, which I think is the life curriculum for all of us.
Mm,
And the power of the breath. I think for me this has been a profound shift this year. So the whole, really, the ability to be present and connect with source
mm,
really comes from really your breath and the power of the breath. I think I've really and I continue to, I think this is,
Mm.
as I say, it's continuous sort of evolution. But I think what would be really great, actually, as we continue with this podcast, I'm really keen that we really start leaning into some practical, techniques for actually how the hell do you do this? It's one thing to say, be in the now, be in the moment, but let's just start practicing and demonstrate. What are the sorts of things, and let's face it. You can have 5 minutes. 5 minutes is enough, right? And so you don't have to meditate for hours and hours and hours on end. It's really about changing state in 5 minutes and finding those beautiful techniques that can help us do that. So I'm really, really excited about what's coming for next year, and really just how we continue to grow and evolve and share our journeys with you, and invite you in to share your journeys with us. I can't wait to hear more about all the profound learnings you have, and integrations that you have, equally for myself. I think really there's big shifts happening in the world. We've talked a lot about this already on the podcast, and I really feel excited about 2025.
Mm.
Really, but
Absolutely.
let's just be present in the now, in the 2024, and it's just Christmas is just around the corner, and we've all
For
got
sure.
to still deal with all the dynamics around spending time with family and friends and loved ones. So I think from my perspective, I just want to wish you all the most miraculous time. And I think if you take one thing away from this, it's really to try and be present and in the moment. And when you're with people that maybe trigger you, for example, I think it's always an opportunity to also see the higher version of them, and really not to, or choose, or try to choose not to let their energy affect you, because I think that's something we all have to navigate during these times. I'm opening another thread now. That's probably another whole long conversation, but I think for now, it's just, if anything, takeaway today is take a deep breath and just get back into your body. Okay, just
Beautiful.
get back into your body by breathing, and if you have to walk away for a moment, do that. But wishing you an amazing Christmas and
Yeah.
blessed 2025. We will probably be back second week-ish of January.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on the socials, and we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Sean,
Wishing you all
thank
the
you so
best,
much.
everyone. Yeah, Marlies, thank you so much. And to everyone out there, take time for yourself. There is nothing selfish about taking time for yourself and building in those moments where you can just really reflect on your year, celebrating yourself. Spend this time like really celebrating yourself, and then to really build up those fuel tanks for next year to come out all firing. And Marlies, as always, it's just been an absolute pleasure. And Scott in the background there, who does all of the technology for us, that we are so definitely not what I'm skilled at, and he just quietly in the background does so much for us. So a very big thank you, Scott, for being on the journey with us.
Thank you, Scott, and we love you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, take care.
Beautiful.
Lots of love.
Lots of love.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Cool.